Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a Bilbo Baggins statue. If you want to make it, here's what you're going to need. You will need some sandstone block, grab yourself some nether brick, also grab some red wool, and some black wool, grab some brown wool, some dark green, some yellow, and finally grab some white wool. I know that I kind of got those in a seemingly random order, but trust me, there's a reason that I've done that. And once you have every single one of those materials right there, and once you've figured out where you want to make him, I'll be making him right here, you'll want to kick off your Bilbo statue with a row of 8 sandstone block in a row on the floor. That's 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And once you have your row of 8 sandstone block, this is what you want to do next. Stack 4 more rows of sandstone directly on top of your base row. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 to give you in total 5 rows of sandstone block. Base row plus 4, 5. Once you have your 5 rows of sandstone block, for the next 4 rows, you want to do 4 rows of brown wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like that. Once you have your 4 rows of brown, for the next row you want to place a single nether brick on the ends of your row and then fill the entire center part in with brown wool. For the next 2 rows you want to place a single red wool on the ends of the row, place a nether brick next to the red, and then fill the entire center part in with brown. And as I said, you want to have that for 2 rows. So once you've done that to 1 row, you just want to apply the same blocks to the next row. And once you've completed those 2 rows, you've actually completed the front of Bilbo's legs. They're very simple. Don't worry, the torso is a little bit harder. So once you've got the legs taken care of, as I said, we can now move up to the torso. So coming all the way up to the top of the legs, this is what you want to do. And unfortunately, most of the torso is going to have to be built in a left to right fashion, just calling out the blocks because it's a little bit too tricky to make otherwise. So for the first row of the torso, do this. Going from left to right, do 1 yellow wool, 1 nether brick, 1 brown wool, 2 green wool, 1 brown wool, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. I told you it was getting a little bit more complicated. For the next row, left to right again, do 1 red wool, 1 nether brick, 2 dark green, 1 brown wool, 1 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, starting from the left hand side again, do 1 yellow wool, 1 nether brick, 4 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, left to right again, 1 red wool, 1 nether brick, 2 dark green, 1 brown wool, 1 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, left to right again, do 1 yellow wool, 1 nether brick, 4 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, left to right again, do 1 red wool, 1 nether brick, 2 dark green, 1 brown wool, 1 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, do again left to right, do 1 yellow, 1 nether brick, 4 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, do 1 red wool, 1 nether brick, 2 dark green, 1 white wool, 1 dark green, 1 nether brick, 1 red wool. For the next row, it gets a little simpler now. You want to do 2 white wool in the 2 center spots of the row. Then place a single nether brick on the ends of your row, and then just fill everywhere else in with dark green. For the next row, place a single nether brick on the ends of your row. Then place a single dark green next to that nether brick, and then just fill everywhere else in with white wool, those 4 center blocks. For the next row, place a single red wool on the ends of your row, and then fill the entire rest of the row in with white wool. Now for the final row of the torso, do 2 sandstone in the 2 center spots of the row, do a single red wool on the ends of the row, and then just fill everywhere else in with white wool to give you something which should look a little bit like this, just to show you Bilbo's torso. A little extravagant, he's got a nice little jacket on there. So once you've got that, once you've taken care of the torso, what we have next on our list is Bilbo's arms. So once you have reached this point right here, you now want to come to the right hand side of your statue, and you want to come to the first row of the torso, which is this row right here. You know it's this row because it's the first row that we have yellow in. Going right of this red block, you want to take out your sandstone and do a row of 4 going right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. We're now going to build up the entire arm pretty much how we just built up the torso. We're just going to go from left to right, or sometimes just do solid rows of colour. So for the second row of the arm, you want to do, going from left to right, 3 white wool and 1 sandstone. For the next row, do 3 red wool, then 1 white wool. For the next 7 rows, do 7 rows of red wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, just like that. So you want to have your 7 rows of red wool. Now for the final 2 rows of the arm, you just want to do 1 nether brick and then fill the entire rest of the row in with red. And as I said, for the last 2 rows, so just also do that for the top row as well, to give you something which should look a little bit like that. That is the arm on Bilbo's right side. His left arm, technically, if you're looking from his perspective, but his right arm to us. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now do the other arm. So coming over to the left hand side of our Bilbo statue, starting from the yellow block that we have here on the left hand side, you want to start this off by doing 4 sandstone going left of this yellow wall. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now doing the exact same thing left to right, or just doing whole rows of colour, for the second row of Bilbo's arm, do 1 sandstone, then 3 white wool. For the next row, do 1 white wool, 3 red wool. For the next 7 rows, do 7 solid rows of red wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3 vertical rows of red, like that. Now for the final 2 rows of the arm, just like we did on the other side, you want to do 3 red wool, 1 nether brick, and you just want to do that for both of those rows to give you something which should, in total, just to show you how the whole thing should look once it's all put together, in total should look exactly like this. And that is what you want to have for the entire front of your Bilbo statue. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move around to the back of our Bilbo statue. So once you have fully completed the legs, the torso, and both of the arms, quite literally move around to the back of your statue. Come all the way down to the bottom of the feet. Take out your sandstone block, and basically what you want to do with this ground floor row right here is take each end of the row and kind of extend it back towards the back of the statue with 2 rows of 3 sandstone like this. 1, 2, 3, and this one as well. 1, 2, 3. You then just want to connect both of those third blocks together to give you a U shape. And once you've formed your U-shape, you can now build up the entire rest of your statue. For now, we're only going to be focusing on these 8 back sandstone blocks. We'll be taking care of these 2 side blocks that we have on the left and right hand side here a little later on. So, for the next 4 rows of the back of your statue, do 4 solid rows of sandstone. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you have your 4 rows of sandstone, do 2 solid rows of brown wool. 1 and 2. For the next row, do a single brown wool on the ends of your row, and then just fill the entire rest of it in with red wool. And once you've got those rows taken care of, the entire rest of the back of the statue becomes really easy. Here's why. The back of the legs and Bilbo's actual back is just completely red wool. So all you have to do for the next, I don't even know how many rows, for all of the next rows involved with the back, you just have to fill them in completely with red wool. So I would suggest doing what I'm doing right now. Just start off with a very long row of red wool that kind of just measures out how high you have to go with your red, and that should just be in line with the top of the front of your statue. And once you've got that figured out, I would just build up every single other row very quickly directly next to it. And what you want to end up with, once you've done exactly what I've done right there, is something which should look like that. It's very plain, I realise, but that is Bilbo's back. He wears a big red coat. That's what that is. Once you have the back of your statue taken care of, and as I said, just line up all of the rest of the rows with the front of the statue and you can't go too wrong. Once you've got that taken care of, however, all we have to do is the back of the arms, which are equally as easy. Here's why. The back of the arms are just direct copies of the front of the arm, so all you have to do, quite literally, just look at the front of your statue and copy exactly what you have on the front onto the back, just as I'm doing now. It requires barely any thought whatsoever. Just use your eyes and copy what blocks you placed where on the front of your statue and apply them onto the back of the statue, just like that. As you can see, the left arm, for instance, exact same as it is on the front, and you want to do the exact same thing with the right arm as well. So I'm just going to take care of this. Again, exact same process, just copy what you have on the front of the statue and you can't really go wrong. Nether brick there, red wool there, and once you've completed that, you should end up with something that should look a little bit like this. I know the back of the statue is very, very plain, but what are you going to do? He's got nothing back there. So that is what you want to have for the entire back of your Bilbo statue. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the sides of our statue. So come all the way over to this side of your statue. Here's how this is going to work. We've just got to fill in these 2 blocks. So when I say that we're doing, I don't know, 4 rows of sandstone, I mean this. Take out your sandstone block, and on top of these 2 blocks, do 4 rows of sandstone. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. Once you have your 4 rows of sandstone, you then want to do 2 rows of brown wool. So 1 and 2. Then you want to make the entire rest of the leg section red wool. So that is your crash course in how the legs work. 4 sandstone, 2 brown wool, make the entire rest of the leg red wool. Very simple. The same is going to apply to the arms as well. When I say that I'm doing 1 row, I just mean the 2 blocks left and right. Once you've got the side of the legs taken care of, almost messed up that sentence, once you've got the side of the legs taken care of, we can now move up to the side of the arm. So all you need to do, first of all, is just fill the bottom of the arm in with sandstone. Just fill the bottom of the hand in with sandstone, and that will form the first row. After that, all you really have to do to colour in the side of the arm is just match the colours that you have on the front and back of the statue and just copy those colours into the 2 centre blocks. So for instance, for the first 2 rows we have sandstone, for the next row we have white, and then the entire rest of the arm is quite simply red wool. Just like this. And once you've got the arm taken care of, we won't dwell on that too long, it's very simple. Once you've got the arm taken care of, you now just want to come all the way up to the top of the shoulder, and you just want to fill the shoulder in pretty much the exact same way as you filled the arm. You just want to have 2 rows of red wool, then 1 row of nether brick. And that's all you have to do. You only have to come in by 3 rows for the top of the arm. For the shoulder, you just want your 2 rows of red, 1 row of Never Break. Let me show you how the side of your statue should look once it's all put together. There you have it. Very, very simple. Once you've got that side of your statue taken care of, we can now do the exact same thing to the other side. And I do mean the exact same thing. So all you have to do, very much how we did for the front of the arms, for the side of your statue, just look directly forward at what you've done and just copy it onto this side of the statue. Although, you shouldn't even really need to do that. It's really easy to remember what you have to do anyway. Just in case you can't, 4 sandstone, 2 brown, rest of the leg is red. Once you've done that, you just have to do the bottom of the hand, and then just do the colour matching process, sandstone there, white there. Then just fill the entire rest of the arm in with red until you get up to the top of the shoulder, ever so slightly different. 2 rows of red, 1 row of Never Brick, just like that. You only have to come in by 3, remember. You can come in more, but you don't have to, but don't come in any less or you'll have holes in your statue. And once you've completed the opposite side of your statue, you really shouldn't be able to tell either side apart. So that is the opposite side of your statue. Once you've got that taken care of, and obviously pause this here if you're still working on any of that, of course, and once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the final part of our statue, which is the head. So come all the way to the front of your statue and come all the way up to the top of the torso. Take out your brown wool and place a row of 8 brown wool directly on top of the top row of the torso, in that position, right there. Once you have your row of 8 brown wool, do 2 rows of sandstone directly in front of it, like this. You then want to knock out the 2 middle blocks of that second row of sandstone and replace them with brown wool. That's Bilbo's mouth. What we're now going to be doing is building up Bilbo's entire face, then we'll do the rest of the head, then we'll mess about with his hair, then we'll be done. So going up on top of this second row of sandstone, you want to, for the second row of Bilbo's face, do an entire row of sandstone, just like that. For the next 2 rows, you want to do this. Do 2 sandstone in the 2 center spots of the row. Do a single green either side of the sandstone. Do white either side of the green. And then just do sandstone on the ends of the row. And as I said, you just want to have that for 2 rows. So once you finish 1 row, just apply that to the one directly above it to give you Bilbo's eyes. For the next row, place black wool on top of your dark green and white blocks, and then just place sandstone everywhere else. So you just want to give your Bilbo eyebrows essentially, and then just fill the entire rest of the row in with sandstone. Once you've got that taken care of, for the next 3 rows, just do 3 solid rows of brown wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And I know what you'll be thinking, that doesn't look like Bilbo. Don't worry, we'll be sorting that out a little bit later. I know it looks a little freaky and weird now, but the statue is going to look pretty good once we've finished it. So once you've taken care of the face, which is that right there, we can now move on to the rest of the head. So come all the way to the back of the head, and starting from this first row of brown that we placed here, you just want to, with your brown wool, extend this original row of brown until it hangs over the back of the statue by 2 rows. A little bit like this, just to show you from a side view. You just want to have the original row of brown wool extend back until it overhangs the back of the statue by 2 rows, very much how the front of the head overhangs the front of the statue by 2 rows. And once you've done that, this is what you want to do next. We have to make Bilbo's ears. So starting from this block right here, this kind of like bottom right hand corner that we have here, you just want to take out your sandstone and you kind of just want to form like a 2x2 square, like this. And once you have your 2x2 square right there, you just kind of like want to add an extra layer onto it, like up left diagonally. I can't really explain this very well, but this really is the easiest way of explaining it. So once you have your square, you kind of just want to like corner another square onto the upper left hand side of it. And once you've done that, you then want to do the exact same thing with the little upper left hand side square that you've just made, you want to do the same thing again. So you just kind of want to add those 3 blocks onto the corner, and then you just want to add 3 more blocks onto the corner that you added onto the corner to give you something which should look like that. And that is Bilbo's ear. I realise the explanation for that made no sense whatsoever, however you guys should be able to see quite clearly what I've just done. Once you've got that taken care of, you now want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side of the head. So on this side of the head you start off with your 2x2 square just like that, then you add these 3 blocks onto the upper right hand corner, and then you just add those 3 blocks onto the corner to give you the exact same shape, a nice big pointy ear. And once you have those ears on both sides of the head, that's right, most people have 2 ears, once you have both of Bilbo's ears taken care of, you now want to take out your brown wool, and you basically just want to now turn the entire head into a big giant cube shape. So you take out your brown wool, you come to both back corners of the head, and you just want to basically connect the back of the head to the front of the head, kind of with a nice little right angle like that, and then you just want to connect both of those rows together, and what you should end up with is a nice big cube shape like this. And what you then want to do is just fill the entire cube in with brown wool, just as I'm doing now. Just fill all of these faces of your cube in with brown wool, and obviously just all the way around the ears, just being nice and careful. I wish I would have done the ears second, because building around them is actually quite tricky, but you know, that's what we have to deal with. So just going to finish filling in all of these sides, and once I have, we just have to ruffle up Bilbo's hair a little bit, and then we can take a look at the statues. So you put on the ears, you turn the head into a cube, you fill in all of the faces, and you should end up with something that should look a little bit like this once you've finished it. And just to show you the other side as well, as you can see, both ears are the same. Entire back of the head's brown, entire top of the head's brown. So once you've done that, this is what you want to do next to finish off your Bilbo statue. So we're just going to add a little bit of extra hair onto the front of the head and onto both sides of the head, and it's actually really tricky to explain, so I'm not going to try and explain it. I'm just going to add in the extra hair, give you guys a good shot of it, and then you guys can just copy it from the still, which you will have to do for yourselves. I can't do this for you. So this is the extra hair that you want to add to the front of your Bilbo statue. As you can see, he's rocking the mop top. You just want to add all of those blocks directly in front of Bilbo's face. Very, very simple. Pause this video here, apply those changes to your statue, then you can move on. So now coming over to this side of Bilbo's head, we're now going to do a very similar thing, obviously not placing the blocks in the exact same positions. We're just giving Bilbo the old mop treatment, so just going to do that. Is there any more? There is a little more. So this is what you want to do to the left hand side of Bilbo's head. You just want to add those blocks there, and again, really difficult to explain, so just pause the video here, apply the blocks for yourself, and then resume the video. Once you've done that, you now want to come over to the opposite side of the head, and we are pretty much just doing the exact same thing that we did on the opposite side of the head here. So my plans are kind of reversed, so I'm just very carefully making sure that this is right. Yep, there you go. That is the exact same thing that we have on the opposite side of the head. His hair's looking all nice and shaggy. Once you've got that taken care of, obviously pause this video here if you need it. Once you've got that taken care of, you should have a 100% fully completed Bilbo statue. There you go. It didn't look right before, but now the hair's done, it's definitely looking a lot more like him. A lot more like him indeed. So there you go. Once you've applied all of the extra hair to his head, this is what your statue should look like. Let's take a nice 360-degree view of him. It's a pretty nice looking statue, not too hard either. Not a lot of difficulty with this statue. I think it's probably because the back is a little somewhat lacking, but you know, he wears a big giant coat. I know that he sometimes has the backpack. I could have stuck a backpack on there, but I don't like it. I don't like the backpack being there. I'd rather him be roaming around with just his coat. I could have also gave him Sting as well, his sword Sting. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. At least I think that's what it's called. I'll find out later tonight, actually. I'm going to be watching the third installment of the Hobbit movies. Pretty excited. That's why I decided to make the statue. I'm going to be watching the third film, the finale, a little later on. Pretty excited about it. So that is your Bilbo statue. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you managed to make this no problem. I will see you in the next video.